I present to you the most beautiful battlefield of the American Civil War. This is neat. This episode of History Saver is brought to you by Addressing Gettysburg. Addressing Gettysburg is a podcast that shares great experiences, quality programs, awesome guests, and is a welcoming community for all who love Gettysburg. So join in with host Matt Callery and find out why Addressing Gettysburg is one of the top-rated podcasts online today. You can find them on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, CastBox, Podbean, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, right here on YouTube. So check out Addressing Gettysburg today, where history is not boring. Thank you to Addressing Gettysburg for sponsoring this video.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Okay, so right now we're in Alatoona or Alatoona Pass, Georgia, and there is going to be some awesome history here concerning the Atlanta campaign in 1864, specifically in October, or the 5th of October, 1864. So this marker is commemorating the Battle of Alatoona, or Battle of Alatoona Pass, October 5th, 1864. You're going to have Lieutenant General John Bell Hood of the Army of Tennessee. Now, do not get Army of Tennessee confused with Army of the Tennessee. Army of the Tennessee is going to be the Union Army of Tennessee. Army of Tennessee is going to be the Confederate Army of Tennessee. So Hood is going to be en route north from Palmetto, Georgia. He's going to send Lieutenant General A.P. Stewart's Corps to destroy the state railroad from Big Shanty. Now, Big Shanty is also known as Kennesaw, and he's going to send them from Big Shanty to the Alatoona River. Now, Alatoona, what is Alatoona? Alatoona is a Muskogee Creek word. That is where Alatoona is going to originate. Alatoona means town. So there were Native American towns in this area at one point, and that is where the word Alatoona comes from. So Stewart is going to seize Big Shanty and Ackworth on the 3rd, and French's division is going to be sent on the 4th to capture the city of Alatoona. Now, daylight on the 5th, French is going to deploy his troops around the federal garrison, which is commanded by John M. Corse. And they're going to be on the high ground, east and west of the rock cut. They're going to have forts in those locations. And what's going to happen is French is going to send some orders after a pretty good-sized bombardment of the positions to John M. Corse, the federal commander, and he's going to say, hey, we can not do this needless bloodshed, dude. Let's have an unconditional surrender of your troops here. And, well, Corse is going to respond, basically, let there be bloodshed. And that is what's going to wind up happening. And we're going to wind up with the result of the Battle of Alatoona Pass. Let's go check out some of those sites here and see what you can see if you come here to Alatoona yourself. So in order to do that, we have to get back in the horse here, the steel horse, and we have to ride or drive our way to the markers and the sites here. So we're going to do that now. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. You'll see me right now. So we're going to take a little stroll, and we're going to talk further about the Battle of Alatoona. So Alatoona is a huge advantage to the Union Army here, because this is their biggest supply depot. The Union Army, General Sherman, they have Atlanta captured, and their biggest, well, thing that they have on a W&A or Western Atlantic Railroad is Alatoona Pass. Now, Alatoona during the war is going to be a railroad town. It's going to be a little small place. In 1866, George Bernard is going to take a picture of Alatoona looking north at approximately the same location as the marker that we have here. So let's take a look at his photograph, and which is one of my favorite photographs of the American Civil War, and it's displaying Alatoona Pass perfectly. So this is Bernard's photo of Alatoona Pass, the deep cut here in Alatoona in 1866. You can see the two ridges on the right and the left, and you can see the railroad cuts right through this. Now, the Western and Atlantic Railroad, which you see here, is going to run from Atlanta to Chattanooga, and it's going to pierce the Alatoona mountain range at this point in this 175-foot deep cut. Now, Alatoona is a small community alongside the railroad. It's going to be intersected by several wagon roads. There's going to be a plantation residence that's going to be photographed on the far left side of this photo. This is the plantation of John Clayton, which is now the Mooney House. Now, it's going to be a privately owned structure, and it's going to look the same today, much as it did during this wartime photo that is taken here at Alatoona. Now, across the tracks is going to be or to the left there across the tracks is going to be the Alatoona train depot. You can see it there, the white looking building, and across the tracks is going to be warehouses and sheds, which in large quantities would contain these federal supplies that would be stored here at the time of the battle. Now, built to defend the railroad, the Star Fort is going to be visible on the hill to the left. You could just make it out in the photograph here. Now, the Tennessee Wagon Road winds northward up and over the hill to the right. You can see it here in this photo. And the frame house that you see in this photo, once standing on this right hill, was used as a headquarters for the 4th Minnesota Infantry Regiment, who's going to be garrisoned at Alatoona. Now, during construction of the defenses, Union forces removed trees on both sides of the hill to provide a clear field of fire. During the Civil War, you have line of fire that you know, if you can see it, well, you can shoot it. If you can't see it, you can't shoot it. So they want this as a clear field of fire. Now, over time, forest growth will reclaim most of this battlefield. And this is the most famous photograph taken of Alatoona here at Alatoona Pass. You look at the photograph, and you can see the home here on the left. That home is here, still standing today. Very cool to see that. And the depiction of the marker here is exactly right. It looks much as it did during the war. The John Clayton home, now known as the Mooney House, is still here in this exact position it was during the war. How cool is that? And where we're standing is where the railroad would have ran, right through this area. And we're going to take a little hike, and we're going to look at the pass today for ourselves. And this is pretty cool. This is a really cool moment for me personally, because this is a photograph I've seen a lot of. And now I'm walking within this photograph 160 years later. Or to be exact, 161 years later, I guess. But, wow. Really cool. So we're going to see what we can find here on the Alatoona battlefield. And I already see something very cool. Wow. This is a very cool spot. So, to the left here, I'm noticing a mangled piece of railroad track. This is known as a Sherman necktie. So both armies would destroy the railroad tracks. And in order to do that, they would bend them into unrecognizable shapes. Most of the time in a circle across one another. These were nicknamed Sherman's neckties. It was famous here in Georgia. And there is one right freaking there. Wow, that is cool. So you can see the pass here for yourself, we are looking on top of the left hill here. All the vegetation would have been gone off of that. That is where the Star Fort would have been located. To my right here would have been the headquarters for the Minnesota Regiment at the top of this hill. And there was a wagon road that ran straight up this hill. And through here, and this is that spot we're standing, were the warehouse sheds that you see in that photograph. And I know we're going back to this photograph a lot during this video, but it is, I mean, that's how important this is to identify these structures here. And this is going to be the Tennessee Wagon Road that's going to run up here. Very, very neat. And we're going to walk over here by the hill where the headquarters of the Minnesota Regiment once stood, right up there, and see what we can see here. So hidden beneath the embankment here is going to be the memorial field. The memorial to all the state troops, both for the North and the South, who's going to fight here in this area during 1864, and maybe even in the prior engagements that was fought in this area, prior operations here. And we're going to go around and just take a brief look at each one. You have Ohio, commemorating the 5th Ohio Cavalry. Now, by this time, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be dismounted cavalry, but they will have Sharps carbines here. They will have repeating rifles. And this is commemorating the 5th Ohio Cavalry that was served throughout the Atlanta campaign and would be the eyes of the Union forces. So they will be here on picket and communication duty, where they will fight during the Battle of Alatoona Pass. Then you've got the Wisconsin men here, who's going to be defending the Star Fort and a neighborhood rationing, those million rations that is stored up here. And then you have the Minnesota, in tribute of the officers and the men of the 4th Regiment of the Minnesota Volunteer Infantry, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Tortolet commanding, who held their ground October 5th, 1864. They're going to have 11 killed and 33 wounded here. Iowa, they die so their nation may live. This is the 39th Iowa Volunteer Infantry, up under the command of John Corse. Now, John Corse is going to be wounded during this battle as well. He's going to write to Sherman that he's going to have his cheekbone gone, he's going to have an ear missing, but he can still fight like hell. And that is just the kind of officer that Brigadier General John Corse of Iowa is going to be. Here you have men of the Illinois who are going to fall here on the 5th of October, 1864. They're going to have 86 men killed, 243 wounded, and 48 missing. Now, Illinois Volunteer Infantry regiments that will serve here will be the 9th, the 7th, the 12th, the 50th, the 57th, and the 93rd. You're going to have the memorial to the Texas troops here at Alatoona Pass. The troops from Missouri, this is going to be Cockell's Elite Brigade. And they're going to fight here. They're going to receive 91 men killed in this area. And this is going to be the Mississippi Monument, the 4th Regiment, Colonel Thomas Adair and Harris, Berry, and Witherspoon. And then you're going to have Dorr, Clark, Hoskins, that are all going to have men fighting here. You have the 29th, 39th North Carolina Infantry Regiments. You're going to have Alabama, up under the command of Major General Samuel French. He's going to say this quote: "For the notable dead, the army mourns. A nation mourns for the living. Honor and respect will await them wherever they shall be known as faithful soldiers who have their dearest rights so often gone through the fires of battle and the baptism of blood." And then finally, we've got the Company A of Louisiana Battery, and that's going to be Point Coupé. Probably said that wrong, but they're going to fight here as one of the batteries that's going to bombard this area on October the 5th. So really cool to be here and kind of see the sights here of Alatoona for myself, and the places where this fighting is going to happen. And much more to me, the coolest part about being here as being in that photograph. Yeah, pretty neat to see the exact spot where this photograph is going to be taken. I'm standing here overlooking the Alatoona Pass mountain range running through these woods, and I'm just thinking to myself, 1864, could you imagine bringing cannons up these hills and mountains in order to defend this area? I don't know if you could tell on camera, but I mean, it seems like a formidable task alone just to be able to do that. Yeah, this is a formidable position, but imagine having to haul all that stuff up here. Cannons, supplies, that's a task. Very beautiful place. Now, the Alatoona mountain range is the southern spur of the Appalachian Mountains. Years before the American Civil War, there's going to be a lieutenant who's going to spend some time surveying Alatoona for the U.S. Army, and he's going to, in doing that, understand the strategic defensive opportunity that this place allows, and understands how formidable of a military defense this place can be. And in May of 1864, while the Union Army was advancing towards Atlanta, General Sherman would choose not to attack the Confederates in defensive positions here because of that survey that was made by him as a lieutenant. Earlier in his history, he was the lieutenant that surveyed this area. And this is the sights that he saw. So we are walking in the footsteps of General Tecumseh Sherman right now itself. Very, very cool. So what you're looking at now is a remnant of the military service road that was here in Alatoona Pass. We're on top of the hill or the mountain where we saw the Minnesota headquarters at. And this is the road that runs through this area. Now, the federal defense here at Alatoona is going to include this military service road, and it's going to cross the Tennessee Wagon Road. Now, the Tennessee Wagon Road on this interpretive map is highlighted by this red star right here. And this is going to connect the fortified positions of the eastern redoubt to the headquarters of the 4th Minnesota, which is on top of this hill. Now, after the Battle of Alatoona Pass, the 4th Minnesota was one of the regiments in Sherman's March to the Sea. Prior to the Battle of Alatoona Pass, Union forces are going to use the mill dam to flood the valley, which is going to cause a difficult time for the Mississippi Brigade of Sears as they maneuver to gain position for the morning attack. Today, the valley lies up under the waters of Lake Alatoona, which is right down the hill just beyond those trees. But you could see the remnants of this military service road still here. Pretty cool. It's extremely quiet out here, and I'm taking you along this military service road up to the position of the 4th Minnesota headquarters. Wow. That's really cool. This place is really beautiful. Awesome hiking trails. Man, I could spend all day long here. So I'm just kind of taking you along let you see the position up to the Minnesota headquarters. Excuse me, I'm yawning. It's relaxing. Not snaky, not hot today. It's actually pretty cool. And I'm enjoying probably what would be one of the last cool days until next winter for this part of Georgia. And here's another marker here. Let's see what we're coming up on here. We come from right down there. I can just make out the parking lot. So we're in about the position where the headquarters of the 4th Minnesota was, based on the photograph evidence of the Bernard photograph. And yeah, we are. Minnesota Regimental Headquarters right here. So here's a close-up of that headquarters, and we'll also put the same picture on the screen here and blow it up for you. Now this is going to be a wood frame dog trot style house. Door in the front, door in the back, goes straight through the house to let the wind come through. And it's going to serve as the regimental headquarters for the 4th Minnesota. The permanent federal garrison at Alatoona was under the command of, I'm going to butcher his name, forgive me, Lieutenant Colonel John E. Tortolet. I don't know if that's the way to say it, Tortolet, but if it ain't, please correct me. But here is where Tortolet, pictured here, love the beard, dude, is most likely to receive 2 historic dispatches concerning John Corse's movements. The first of these dispatches is going to be received at 2 p.m. on October the 4th, and it's going to read simply, Sherman is moving in force, hold out. Again, that same evening, he's going to be encouraged by the words, General Sherman says, hold fast, we're coming. And if you've ever heard the expression, hold the fort, I am coming, or we are coming, this is where it originated from, apparently, is in this battle from General William T. Sherman. So, pretty cool little tidbit here about the headquarters that stood right where we're standing now, and about this battle here at Alatoona Pass. Man, this is so cool. The dog trot style house that you're looking at in that photograph is very common in the South. They were designed for a central hallway, as I just mentioned, door in the front, door in the rear of the house. It would allow air to flow through the house and allow the air to circulate and offer a cool breeze, especially here in Georgia heat during the summer. Now, as far as Johnny Tortolet, he was an aide-de-camp to General Sherman from 1871 to 1884 after the war. By this time, he will reach the rank of colonel. So pretty neat. Now I'm going to actually walk back down the hill here. I'm just in awe of where we're standing right here, guys. That cabin once stood right where I'm standing, and we know that for a fact. That is so, so neat. And if you want to come here and see it for yourself, I mean, it's a pretty easy hike up here. Probably handicap accessible as well, which is pretty cool. It's not bad at all. So, if you guys know anything about me, or if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know I love Civil War photos and to find where Civil War photos were taken at the time of the war or even post-war and match the places up to what it looks like today. And this is probably a #1 bucket list off of that for me. I mean, this is pretty up there. And it's neat to do a video where we don't have to focus, or I'm not focusing on a battle as much as I am exploring the place. You know, oftentimes in my videos, I'm so busy explaining strategy and what happened and who and where that I forget to actually take a moment and look around for myself, other than just look through the lens of a camera the entire time. So this episode is almost in a vlog format, that you're traveling with me. I'm taking you with me here, instead of more of that educational format that you're used to, because I am really excited to be here. This is cool. It's not Gettysburg, it's not Shiloh, it's not Chickamauga, but it is very cool to me to be here. This is up there with those for me. And we're going to go back down and we're going to dive deeper in this photograph. This episode has been more of a vlog and a deep dive into one single photograph, which is really cool. I'm not for sure if we can get on top of the other hill, like I said earlier. I don't know. I would like to get up there to see the Star Fort, but I don't know what's up there. I don't even know if it remains there. I know nothing. You know, you're taking this ride with me. This is the first time I've ever been here. So you're seeing it real time from me to you, basically. But we're gonna try. I'm gonna see what's up there and see if there's anything else here in Alatoona to see. But man, I could spend days out here. I wish they would allow you to camp here on this mountain, because I would love just to spend a few days out here camping. I mean, look at the view of the lake. That's so neat. So apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently some of the battlefield rests at the bottom of this lake, which is news to me. I didn't know that. Of course, Frank Leslie's newspaper has a lot of Civil War photographs and drawings. And this is one of Alatoona Pass, showing the wild, beautiful hill valley and ravine intersecting. You can see for a distance of 25 miles from here. Man, so cool to be walking in the footsteps of so many of these great men who were here before. I'm telling you, you know, with me, this past year in 2024 has been a ride. And the beginning of 2025, well, I haven't spent hardly one day at home since the start of 2025. I've been on the road for personal reasons. So just having the opportunity to take just a few hours today, kind of hit a reset button just a little bit, nudge it just a hair, and breathe and take in this sight is something that I'm truly loving right now. It's been a rough year so far. And, you know, for me, this channel is more than teaching history or bringing you guys along with me on my travels. It's an outlet for me to not only be able to do that, but to also have fun and do something I enjoy. I enjoy making the content on this channel. I mean, I think about it constantly, you know, what can I do for the channel? And I enjoy this. I mean, so you guys offer me watching these videos more than just supporting the channel. You offer me a nudge to keep having fun, keep doing this, and just enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing. So thank you. I wanted to take the opportunity to say that. And this past year, or in 2024, I started working for Emergent Civil War. To me, it's a dream job, and I've loved every second of it. And now, maybe as things slow down, hopefully a little bit here, I'll be able to devote a little bit more time to that and to pursuing my dream. And I'm in an outlet now where I can do that. Unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of things that have hindered it here recently from working as much as I wanted to. But, you know, that's life. It happens. And, well, we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna keep doing this. So let's keep looking here at Alatoona. So we're making our way in the same exact footsteps of some of these soldiers in 1864. And if you look to my right, well, that's the hill where the 4th Minnesota Regimental Headquarters was on. We're walking along the railroad tracks that was in that photo. Right about this spot was the storage sheds, and this spot was the railroad station here, the railroad cabin. And then on top of this hill is where the Star fortification was. And I'm walking in this 175-foot cut that is cut straight through this mountain. And the reason why it's cut like it is now is because at one point in its history, the railroad ran right through this. Pretty cool. So it is a very, very beautiful through here, and it's very quiet. This is such a cool little hike to be able to do. So we're walking in the middle of this pass. Look how vertically up this is. The Star Fort was right here, and these Confederate troops were attacking this. How in the world did they expect to climb this? This is unreal. Now you see what Sherman saw when he said Alatoona is a formidable defensive position. On high ridges, you can see 25 miles in directions, and this ravine is 175 foot deep. If you are a Confederate column moving down the railroad in this position, all they had to do was stand on top of you and shoot you. That is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Holy cow. Look how beautiful this is. So, I couldn't imagine. I just could not imagine being one of the soldiers standing in this. Wow. Check out how gorgeous this is. And the temperature has dropped in between here. I bet 20 degrees. I could literally spend days right here. Literally, I could spend days right here. This is by far one of the most beautiful portions of a battlefield that I have ever seen. This one takes the cake. Look at that. I am simply blown away right now. Guys, I'm telling you, this is spectacular. I mean, just look. Look at this. Holy bananas. And it comes out of nowhere. Wow. This is so cool. I mean, just look. I present to you the most beautiful battlefield of the American Civil War. This is neat. So, walking through here and just seeing this sheer size of where the Star fortification once was on top of this hill through this cut is awesome. And I'm reminded of so many things as I'm walking through here. I mean, even prior to the Civil War, this area was home to the Cherokee, the Creek. And Alatoona itself, the name Alatoona, is derived from a Cherokee word, which means high place of worth. And it's a fitting name for Alatoona, because during the war, it was a high place of worth. It had this vital W&A railroad that ran right through here that supplied the city of Atlanta, first for the Confederacy, then for Sherman. And it was a very valuable place for both armies. And then you have the Alatoona River, which is Creek word, means town. It's a Muskogee Creek word. Alatoona, it means town. So, you know, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, even South Carolina, North Carolina are all dotted with Native American words of towns. And Georgia was a heartbeat of this, because a lot of the Creek and Cherokee that lived here was forcibly removed and moved out west. And this is where they originally lived, right here, among these cliffs that you see behind me. I mean, yeah, so this place has a lot more meaning than just Civil War history. There's a lot of Native American history that occurred right here as well. I mean, there's nothing not to like about Alatoona. It is a high place of great wealth and worth, for sure, because, wow, just so much history occurred right here in this. You know, one of the things I'm thinking about too as I'm walking through here, it's pretty loud. My voice is kind of echoing right here. You know, during the battle, I wonder how loud it was in this pass. It had to be just tremendously loud. I couldn't even imagine standing here in the midst of battle. I mean, there's no way to go. Nowhere to go, rather. You're in between this. I mean, this was a death trap if guys were on the top shooting at you. It's 175 foot down, and all they got to do is stand on the sides of these ravines and shoot down on you like a turkey in a turkey shoot or whatever. I mean, it's a bowl of death right here. Now, during the battle, I'm not sure how much of that actually occurred. I'm still learning about this battle myself. But, yeah, it's pretty neat to think about. Oh, check this out. Right here, we're along the path, rather, in the pass going through here, following the old railroad track line. And they actually have this here, Alatoona Pass, Western Atlantic Railroad. Kind of a marker commemorating this is where it was. Holy bananas. It's so neat to be here. We have made it up to the Star fortification, and holy crap, what a hike. So we're in the area of where it was, and we're also in the area of Rowette's Redoubt. Now, before we get into that, if you look, you can see some traces of maybe trenches and fortifications still here. But some 200 yards to our front of where we're standing, there was an earthen redoubt that protected federal defenses around the Star Fort and the Star Fort itself. Now, this was commanded by Colonel Richard Rowette, and it was manned by the 39th Iowa, 7th Illinois, and 5 Company of the 93rd Illinois Regiment, and was also protected by one 12-pound Napoleon. Now, many of the troops, including the entire 7th Illinois, were equipped with Henry repeating rifles. Now, Confederate Brigadier General Francis Cockrell's Missouri Brigade and Brigadier General William H. Young's Brigade of Texas and some North Carolinians would storm the redoubt at 10:20 a.m. And Harvey Trimble of the 93rd Illinois would say, the fighting in this area became furious. Solid shot, shells, grape canister, double shot cannon, and a hailstorm of bullets were rapidly and accurately poured into the ranks of the Confederates as they recklessly advanced. Notwithstanding their fearful losses at every step, they still advanced faster and faster. The struggle for this redoubt included hand-to-hand fighting with clubbed muskets, swords, fists, and even rocks. Now, as the Confederate assault swept over the defensive positions, the surviving Federals, which was about 200 guys, fled to the Star Fort, and they drugged their Napoleon 12-pounder with them. After the fighting ended that day, Federal Lieutenant William Ludlow described the scene at Rowell's Redoubt. He wrote, "The trench was crowded with dead Blue and homespun Yank and Johnny. They were mingled in their last ditch. Our heroes, ordered to hold the place until the last, had died at their post. As the rebel line ran over them, they struck up their bayonets as the foe struck down, and rolling in the embrace of death, we found them, in some cases, mutually transfixed." So there was some fierce fighting on the hill to our front here. And I couldn't even imagine attacking over this ground. I mean, it's straight up, straight down. And it is not easy terrain. I could not imagine whatsoever attacking this place. But they did. And as we continue on, you can see just ahead of us some earthworks that still remain here. And the remnants of the Star Fort that was here. By 11 a.m., after overrunning Rowell's Redoubt, the Confederate attack swept up this hill from the west and north, and they forced the Federals to retreat that were inside. As the last of the fleeing Federals entered this fort, a 3-inch ordnance rifle was made ready to slow the Confederate pursuit. Now, Harvey Trimble also wrote, "A moment later it was fired, as leaves before a hurricane. That massive enemy was swept from the road. That double charge of grape canister struck at the feet of the front rank and cut a swath broad and deep, and of continually increasing breadth from the front to the rear of the column. The road was red with blood and covered with the dead, dying, and wounded. It was appalling." Now, between 11 a.m. and noon, the Confederates would make 4 separate charges on this fort from the ravine below this point right there. So from that ravine, the Confederates would charge up this slope to this fortification. Each time when they rose in the sight out of the ravine, less than 100 yards away, the Union forces in front rose up and poured a sheet of flame and lead full into their faces. Each time their lines were riddled and their column broken, and again they returned to the protection of the ravine. That was another quote by Harvey Trimble, the 93rd Illinois Regiment. Now, this flag that's right here is the flag of the Cockrell's 4th Missouri Infantry Regiment, and was carried here at Alatoona Pass in this battle. It's now at the Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond, Virginia. And we have made it to the Star Fort. As you can see, the earthworks here of that fortification. And I am running out of time, but we have made it here. And we are able to see this fortification for ourselves. This fortification is pictured in that photograph at the hill at the top right here. And this is where we are now. And we're basically walking around the outside. You can see the outside walls here. The Confederates would charge up this ravine right in front of us down there. And let me tell you, this camera doesn't do justice. That's straight down. 175 foot straight down. I don't know how in the world they pulled that one off. But we are walking through here, And whew, you're getting it all on camera. Now I'm trying to find us an entry point. Here we go. I think we've got an entry point here. There's a tree down there. That's okay. We'll storm up over the works, or attempt to here. And we do. And we're inside the middle of the star fortification. Holy bananas, this is cool. Wow. Thought it would be bigger. It's not very big. So we're in the middle of the star fortification. Now I thought it would be bigger, but it's really small, to be honest with you. Of course, this thing's outlying on the outside of this, but this is the middle. This is talking about the Confederate withdrawal. And this is another photograph by George Bernard from this position at the Star Fort, overlooking the Clayton House, the railroad, and Sandtown Road. We're parked right about here. Is where my car is parked right now. And there's the Clayton House. There's the supply, the depot. So this is looking back to where we were down below us. And I don't think you're going to be able to see that today because of the vegetation. But this is looking back straight over that. Now, the Star Fort was constructed with 6-foot high earthworks and parapets, a 6-foot deep trench completely surrounding the fort. The walls were topped with interlacing railroad ties to form a multi-pointed star. And this would give the fort its designation as a star fort. Now, this photo was taken by Bernard, 1866, showing Star Fort. And this is from the same position that we're standing in now. And it shows the sally port, the only opening through which artillery supplies and troops could pass. Approximately 700 Federals would take refuge inside of these walls during the Confederate assault. Unable to capture this position, the Confederates surrounded the Star Fort on 3 sides, and they would pour continuous musket fire over the walls and through the gun and brazier openings. Now, the Federal losses would begin to mount, and it would become alarming. Sharpshooters would find their targets inside of their crowded fort here. And while peeking over the wall in the enemy position, General Corse was wounded himself when a bullet tore across his cheek and ear. Following the battle, 192 bullet holes were counted in the American flag that had flown right here inside of this fort, probably somewhere right in this position here. And this photo, which you're looking at on this interpretive plaque here and on the screen, was taken right here. This is the exact spot right there. Huh. Really, really cool to be able to match up this photo. So George Bernard would take one photo right there, and then he would take another photo pointing the camera back this way on top of this fortification towards the railroad crossing itself. And I'm going to tell you what, it was a climb up here. But the scene in the ravine in front of the Star Fort after the battle was ended was beyond all powers of description. All the languages of the earth combined are inadequate to tell half of his horrors. Mangled and torn in every conceivable manner, the dead, wounded were everywhere in heaps and windrows. Enemies, though they were, their conquerors, only a few minutes removed from the heat and passion of battle. Sick and to turn away or remaining looked only with great compassion. And threw tears upon that field of blood and carnage and death, upon that wreck of high hopes and splendid courage, that hecatomb of human life. Their dead and wounded were scattered through the woods, ravines, and gulches all around, and were continually found, and dead buried from day to day until the 22nd of October. Those are the words of, again, Trimble of the 93rd Illinois Regiment, Private Harvey Trimble, as he went on to describe the aftermath and horrors that he saw here at Star Fort. And, well, if we come right here, and if these trees were not in the way, we will be overlooking the last photograph of Bernard, overlooking the railroad depot from this position. But for me, I'm going to make my way back down out of here. So as we walk out, this is the Sally Port, the other side of it, the photo that you guys have just seen by Bernard, and where we are now. And these are the ditches that were here and put in front of the fort. You can see the earthen walls here. They would have had head logs here, railroad ties, different things to help support and defend this place. And this is as we walk out. The Confederates, you can imagine them pouring up this hill in front of us to attack this place. And they would surround this fortification. But the Federal Army here will hold them back at all costs. And French would be unsuccessful in gaining the Federal Western and Atlantic Railroad supply line here at Alatoona. He will be unsuccessful at getting the 1 million pounds of rations, or 1 million rations, whichever one it is. I'm not for sure which one it is. A million rations or 1 million pounds of rations. That's either way you want to say it. It's a lot of rations. Okay, that is a tremendous amount of rations that could feed the Confederate soldiers in this area for a pretty good while. So, I mean, they were really running short of supplies. So it would feed them a lot. But you can just imagine the carnage of where we're walking here, and the cut or the pass is right there. That is the road that we walked down, and you can see probably an original road right through here running on the cliffs face, and one there. The 4th Minnesota would have been right on top of that hill there with their headquarters building. Guys, I'm telling you, this is one of the coolest battlefields I've ever been to. And it's small. There's not a whole lot here, unless you're looking up in your eyes, and there's a lot. So do your research and come here and see it for yourself. Because once you kind of know what you're looking at a little bit, even have an idea. I mean, I don't know everything about this battle. I don't think I do. And I don't. So, I mean, I have a lot more research to do too, which is the reason why I'm getting off of this mountain right now and probably going to buy some more books here in Alatoona. So there's a look back up at the Star Fort, and that's looking at it from down here, that is a really formidable position. You can see everything from up there. I'm telling you, coming down is a heck of a lot better than it was going up. It's a climb to the top of that mountain. But we did it. We did it. So here's another look at the Star Fortification, just right there. You can see the earthworks there of where we just were. That's where we were up there. We just come down. We're back on the railroad cut, and we are headed back the way we come. So I had all purposes of actually going to Pickett's Mill as well and seeing the battlefield there, and I did off camera. They were not open the day I went by there, so the plan was for the day, when I'm filming this, so I was going to come here first and then head to Pickett's Mill. But I just wound up spending the entire afternoon here in Alatoona, which I am not sorry I did. This place is amazing. It's not very big, but for what is here, it's definitely worth a day trip here. Trust me. And for nothing else, the history and the scenery, you can't beat it. So, I mean, look at this. Star Fort's right up on top of this. That's insane. That is insane. Yeah. No idea before today that I will be able to walk the railroad cut here that is pictured in the photograph in the same spot. No idea. I had no idea about the rest of those photos I showed you from up there. So, yeah, that's the reason why I like doing this. I can bring you guys along with me. And it is a hobby for me to film these videos. You know, that you guys watch them and enjoy them. Makes it a little bit worthwhile. But the other part of that is that, well, you guys can share this with me. And you're sharing this moment with me because this is just cool. Really, really cool. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. We're going to head to the next place. And I will see you there, wherever that may be. But for here at Alatoona, keep preserving history. Stay safe. And I will most certainly see you from the next location. Thank you guys for all the support here on the channel. And for, you know, if you choose to keep watching the channel and supporting the channel, I much appreciate it. And if it's your first time here and you like what I do, well, hit the subscribe button. And hit the bell notification. You'll get notified every time I do something as crazy as this. So, let's see you on the next episode. Until then, keep preserving history. Stay safe. Go out and explore history for yourself. See you soon. Could you freaking imagine how eerie it is to be here by yourself right now? Which I am. And this is the sight you have. Or much more to be here at night. Right here. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's time for us to go.